When it comes to the daf, it's something that's super amazing, the consistency. Day in, day out, B'li Ayin Hara, I've been giving a shear for over 6 years, 6+ years, without missing a single day. For me, it's an incredible feat, and it's almost like l'mala min hateva, you know what I mean? Because yes, to give shear when you have the flu, COVID, I gave shear during my son's chasana a few years ago, while my daughter was giving birth, and she went unconscious. Just the consistency, there's no stopping. And many people feel that about if when you do something every single day, and it becomes part of you, it's very, very difficult to stop. And that's the beauty of the Daf Yomi.
Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Okay, many people know who Rav Eli Stefansky is, arguably the biggest daily Torah teacher today, but most don't really know what's behind the man, what motivates him, what breaks him, why is he actually doing all of this? You've never seen an episode like this. Be sure to watch the entire episode because I share my personal favorite viral moments of Rev Eli's impact. This episode is powered by Feldheim, my Mashgiach Sefer, Yesod Bias, United Refua Healthshare, and Miriam's Legacy Tours. This episode is in memory of Shimon David ben Yaakov Shlema and Miriam Sarah Bas Yaakov Moshe. And we've been dedicating these episodes to Refua Shlema, my good friend, Yosef Chaim ben Devorah Chaya Golda, and Baruch Hashem, he is now in remission. Thank you to everyone who davened. And I want to know if you have watched one share or more from Reb Eli Stefansky. Leave that in the comments below. Maybe you've never watched anything from him. We also want to know. Here we go. Reb Eli Stefansky, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Do you get a little nervous because I know you're used to being behind the camera and stuff like that, but maybe not in this sense?
I'm not that nervous, no.
Okay, good.
You know why?
Why?
Because you make me feel comfortable.
Okay, good. I'm glad about that. So I want to get into it. I know you've said your story before and you are very out there, but still, there are maybe 3-4 Jews in the world who don't know who you are. So could you give us a little about your background, your childhood, where you grew up, all the places you've been?
Wow. I lived everywhere. I was born in Lakewood. Parents moved to Long Beach, Forest Hills, Far Rockaway. I was in Darchei Torah for a few years. Then my father sent me to a bunch of Hasidic Chadarim in Brooklyn. I went to Munkach, Stalin, Karlin, and Skver. That's where I picked up my Yiddish.
Oh, then pause you for a second. Why did he send you to Hasidic places?
My father wanted me to be Gadol Adar. That was his thing. And he figured that I wasn't getting enough learning in the Litvish system. Hasidim were learning a little bit more. I don't know. Go speak to him. It's an interesting
you gotta get
story.
him on here.
Yeah.
He lives around here, not so far.
I don't know where he lives. Every few weeks. Right now he's in America. He really lives in Yerushalayim, but he's in America now. Yeah.
Okay. So, did you feel that pressure growing up that if your father wanted you to be so big in learning as a kid? I'm curious how that affected you.
I knew it was very important to him, and it was, I wanted to always please my father, so it was a goal I had. But then when I realized it's not really for me, I had to let him know that I'm going to go into the business world, and that was a devastating day for him.
Was that like telling your father that you kind of want to go off the derech, the same?
Literally. I think behind the scenes he might have sat shiva when he found out. I mean, he literally cried when I told him that I'm going to work and, I want to go into real estate. He did not take it easy because, this was his big dream. His oldest, he put a lot of work into me, many, many hours of learning one-on-one. And it was a big dream.
Did you personally feel like in ways like a failure because you're like on this trajectory and then you're just going off it? Because it didn't make sense for you, but still that sense of letting him down or just yourself of like, I couldn't, in quotes, get there.
I wasn't really on the trajectory per se. I was always always having fun. It didn't happen one day. It was like a lifelong battle, which I said, who am I fooling? This is not really for me to sit in Kyle. I would sit in Kyle a week or two, then I'll go on a ski trip and then, repeat. So, but yes, in my mind, it was the most important thing to do. And I wished I could do it, but I wasn't able to do it.
And what was your mother's stance on all of this?
I didn't get any feedback from her really. It was mainly from him. She never, expressed her desire for me to be the galadar and all that. So was she super happy that I went to work? Probably not.
Growing up, were you closer to your father or your mother?
My father.
Okay, and I know that when you were newly married, your mother passed away.
Right.
What was that like? It's never simple losing a parent, but especially if you don't necessarily feel as close to that parent and then they pass away.
Right. I mean, it was devastating as is. In the later years after I got married, I got much closer to her, but there's the sense of regret, and then when you become a parent yourself, you realize how much a parent puts in and how much she sacrificed to bring me up. And, it was very hard. Yeah. I mean, my wife woke me up once, a few months after she was nifter. Middle of the night, she says, you're crying. In my sleep, I was crying. So, even though I was in my 20s, it was devastating. She was only 49 years old. And regardless of our little struggle that we had or whatever, it was still very devastating.
I'm sorry. Someone who I know you were with in Miami, he was a guest on the show, Rabbi Eli Rizal. Yeah. He very different stories, but the similarity is someone who was in the learning world and then he shifted towards the working world and then he shifted back to the learning world. Again, very different stories. But
I also sat in jail for a day.
Did you really?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Let's not go there. It was when we moved to Eretz Yisrael, it's a crazy story. I don't want to really.
You can't tease that. That is very interesting. What?
When we moved to Eretz Yisrael, my son, my oldest, he was a wild kid, and he got into a big, huge fight, a neighborhood fight, and these kids came to beat him up. They came to our house, and I came there to protect him. So it's a very long story, but we all like 12 people, whoever was involved, whoever was there, got taken away.
Right.
Including myself. I was brand new to the neighborhood, and they're like, "Who's this crazy guy that just moved to the neighborhood from America?" And like, he's already. It was a big. And then this is a story that took basically almost 2 years of my life. I spoke about it briefly here and there, but it's not a great story. To get my son out of all the trouble, it cost a ton of money, a ton of hard work, and basically not a lot of learning. That was like a big turning point in my life.
So interesting. Okay, I do want to go back to certain points there because that is interesting.
I brought it up, I guess.
No, but
you had to bring in Eli Rizal. Yeah.
Yeah. So my question is like shifting from the learning world that you're in and then going to the working world. Was that like honestly, was that geschmack? Was it nice? You're making money now and you're making deals, or did you miss that? Like I don't know, that connection. Maybe you weren't so into the learning at that point, but I'm curious how you're going about it.
Yeah, it's almost like what you brought up before, like the off the derech kid. I think as much as you're off the derech, in the back of your mind, you always have that guilty feeling or whatever. A lot of them do. And you're out there making money and there's like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be learning now. And I'm supposed to be Rosh Yeshiva. So there's always this. That's why I gave a shir in Chicago for 8 years. I gave Daf Yomi for 5 people for 8 years. It was always something important to me, just I didn't think I could do it all day.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, could you take us through the shift of, because I know you're still in business, but you're more of like silent partner kind of aspect? I'm
in business. I have a business, but I hardly do business.
So take me through the decision to leave that world and go towards, again, I don't know if it was Daf Yomi per se, but like just going back into the yeshiva world.
Yeah, so it wasn't so much a decision. I was kind of forced into it. So when I started giving the shir and I wanted to be successful, so I started putting more and more time into it. And slowly but surely, it took over my life. Like in Chicago, when I was giving the shir, I prepared for an hour. And over here, I was preparing for an hour. Then it had to be 2 hours, 3 hours. I was looking for props, looking for hands-on things. And it just literally took over my life. And I started sleeping less, preparing more and more. And I just put everything into it to the point where I didn't have any time to do business. And that's where I'm at right now. I just don't have the time.
Were you scared that you're not gonna be able to support your family if you do that? Because even though, tell me if I'm wrong, you were doing well at that point, but still, like when we're not in control, it's seemingly that you'll end up potentially failing. You weren't scared about that?
I never had that fear. Not because of the money part. I believe that if I'm doing the right thing, Hashem's going to take care of the rest. That sort of attitude. I had a few interesting hashgacha pratis where my partner, Benzi Friedman, he said, I found this nice property, 500 units in Cleveland, and I think we should buy it. And I was like, yeah, whatever, let's just buy it, whatever. And he ended up buying it. And like a month or two later, he says, we have this problem with the electric. So without going into a lot of detail, any building that has old electric wires, it's very hard to insure. So I'm like, Benzi, you didn't check the wiring? Like that's the ABC. I used to be an electrician for like 2 years. So I knew electric, and that was like the first thing I would do when I would inspect the building. You didn't get a company to... And to make a long story short, had I been there and been on top of it, I would have checked it and I would have probably nixed the deal. So there's not, unless you give us some sort of compensation for all this bad electric, we can't buy the deal. And I would walk away like I did so many times before. And because he wasn't aware of this and because we bought it, I think we ended up making a very nice profit. And I felt like, Hashem knows better. If I would be involved, I wouldn't make the money. Because I wasn't involved, we did make the money. So that's how I view it.
I'm curious if after that, Benzi was on top of checking the electric after.
Only electric, and then he misses the plumbing. No, I'm just kidding. He's great. Benzi's great, but hey, everybody has their flaws,
Sure. Okay, so something I want to talk to you about, because I know it's come up in your Sherman stuff, is about your children. Obviously, what you're doing is takes a lot of your time and energy. But first off, how many children do you have?
I have 5 children. I think. I'm not sure. 5, yeah.
Okay, you have 5 children. How many of them are married?
2 are married. 2 are in Yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael, and 1 is in Los Angeles.
Wow. Okay. So, and you have 5 grandchildren?
I have 5 grandchildren. Very good.
Okay. Yeah. I remember the video about your son and like him struggling and you talking.
Which one?
Yeah. So you tell me.
Okay. So my oldest one had his struggles, his trauma, his thing, and Baruch Hashem married a great girl. We like her a lot. They have 2 kids. I just flew into Miami for the bris. It's the first Stefansky bris. And he's bringing me a lot of nachas now. He turned his whole life around. He's actually coaching other people, helping people in their life. And he came a very, very long way. He named this kid after the Chayves HaTalmidim, Kalman. His name is Yisha Kalman. So he's into Hasidus. He's into working on himself. So amazing. And I have another son, Akiva. He's in Los Angeles, still struggling, He's working for somebody that does the share every day in MDY, Shlomo Lazarian, and the Bezer Hashem.
For parents watching this, it's never easy when their kids are struggling. What advice do you have to them in terms of like guiding and helping their kids? Don't
take advice from me. That's the number one. Tefillah. That's it. That's all I could. That's my only advice. Do this system, show love, show this, do that. I think if you look through history, Avraham Avinu had a kid that went off. Yitzchak had a kid. And I don't think it has a lot to do with parenting, although I'm sure it has a little bit to do, but every person, there's so many people that I know that you say, wow, these are professional mechanchim, and no way they struggle also. So I don't really have one piece of advice. Keep at it, never give up, and keep on davening. I daven for my Akiva at least 3 times a day, at least. And that's my main focus of tefillah for the last few years.
Wow. Does he feel it? Do you think he feels it?
I hope he doesn't watch this. That's all I can say.
Oh no. Yeah. Akiva, if you're watching this. Is it a little ironic, the fact that I'll say it like this, like you kind of gave your father a run for his money and then your kids are giving you a run for the money?
It was a different run. I never got thrown out of school. I was a wild, wild kid. I beat up a lot of people in school. A lot of parents came to my house complaining about me being violent or whatever, but I never got thrown out of school. I knew how to keep under the radar, so to speak. So it was a different kind in terms of frumkeit. Also, I was never went to the movies, never did, that sort of, I never smoked. I was kind of clean when it came to that. Crazy in a lot of other areas. So yes, I did give my parents a run for the money, but a different kind of run.
Mm.
But yeah, I gave my mom a big run for her money, and it's for revenge, I guess.
So I want to talk to you about the daf. First off, maybe a stupid question, but like, did you imagine that you would stay Jewish? No, okay. Interesting. No, so obviously you saw where I was going with it. The fact that it would grow to what it is today.
It's impossible. Like,
how many guys are following? I know it's hard to like captivate.
It's very hard.
But around,
we think it's somewhere in the 45,000 a day.
That's insane.
But that includes two shiurim, the Hebrew and the English.
Wow. Yeah, I sat through one of your Hebrew shiurim.
Did you really?
Yeah, because when I went to speak to you a few weeks ago.
Where was that? Remind me.
And in the
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I was here. I'm complete. I just for those who don't, I just flew in a few hours ago from Israel because I went back to Israel for a week just for the guys in Israel, so that the shiur could keep on going. Even though I knew it's going to be difficult, I didn't realize how difficult it is for me. I'm getting older, and this whole jet lag thing is really not good for me. You
also had the flu the past week, no?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't even know when it was, but about a week ago, I had the flu. Yeah.
And I want to piggyback off that. Do you ever like maybe miss a shiur here and there? Like, you have the flu. That's a good excuse.
So, b'li ayin hara. This is crazy, and that's why one of the things it's we're going to go in and out with our ADD. I don't know my ADD.
No, our
ADD back into the daf and the pluses of the daf. But what's crazy about the daf is that I'm a very inconsistent person. Very. Like I started a lot of stuff, even in business. Everybody knows I start, and then there's somebody else that finishes. I start a lot of projects. We'll renovate something, and then I just lose interest, and I move on to the next one. Somebody else has to take over. When it comes to the daf, it's something that's super amazing. The consistency, day in, day out. B'li ayin hara, I've been giving a shiur for over 6 years, 6+ years, without missing a single day. For me, it's an incredible feat. And it's almost like l'mala min hateva, you know what I mean? Because yes, to give shiur when you have the flu, COVID, I gave shiur during my son's chasana a few years ago, while my daughter was giving birth and she went unconscious. Just the consistency, there's no stopping. And many people feel that about, if when you do something every single day, and it becomes part of you, it's very, very difficult to stop. And that's the beauty of the Daf Yomi.
That's incredible. And
now it's 2 shiurim a day. So for the last 2 years, I have not missed 2 shiurim a day. So even when I travel, like right now, get off the plane, make sure that it's 2:00 here is 9:00 there. So I had to give a shiur at 2:00, and then
Are you getting pressure to do a shiur in Yiddish?
Yeah, a bunch of yeah.
I'm glad you don't know Spanish, because then
So no, AI is going to have to do that.
Right.
A lot of Hasidim, because I do speak Yiddish, but not on a level to give the shiur. I get a lot of requests, but it's almost impossible,
Why did you decide to do a whole thing in Hebrew?
It was right after October 7th, and I wanted to do something for the hostages, for all the injured. But I had to do something, I can't go to the army. I can't.
You didn't feel like giving the daf, continuing doing what you're doing is enough?
I wanted to step it up. And I have to tell you, and I said this a bunch of times, but at the time it was a crazy decision, because being that the shiur is like a little unusual, a lot unusual, with the jokes, with the animation, with the pictures, the stories, I thought that there's a good chance that the Gedolim in Eretz Yisrael are going to come out against it. It was a struggle.
I really totally get that. I was petrified when I started podcasting that like I'm getting canceled because I'm talking to people without asking a shiloh first.
So that was a big concern. And the exact opposite happened. Gedolim embraced it. There's a lot of Rosh Hashivas that watch it. They come over to me, more so than in America. Rosh Hashivas in Eretz Yisrael don't have a busha. Like they'll come up, I do your shiur every day. The mashgiach in the yeshiva, the koil guys, and it's literally exploding in Eretz Yisrael. This idea of, because in Eretz Yisrael there's a lot of guys that they're considered second-class citizens, yeshiva guys, and that's a big thing that I target are ex-yeshiva guys that went to yeshiva, went to work, and don't learn a word. And there's tens of thousands of them out there. There's so many guys that are good people. They know they're supposed to be learning and they want to learn. Just they don't have the time. They don't have the zisfleish. They don't know how and where. And a big issue is they think they have to learn be'iyun. We learned in yeshiva, the yeshiva said it has to be iyun. So it's all or nothing by them. I'm not going to learn iyun now because I just came home at 9 o'clock at night after a full day's work. So I'm not going to do a daf. Daf is for balabatim. It's too simple for me. So they don't learn anything for 10, 15, 20 years. So I'm trying to get to those people. So in Eretz Yisrael, it's even harder because they're like second-class citizens. You went to work? You went to the army? Like, what's wrong with you? You're supposed to be in Kyle. So we have literally tens of thousands of these guys, and now they're saying, wait, there's a whole bunch of people, there's thousands that are doing it, and they're learning, and they're connecting to Hashem through Torah. Wow, there's something I want. So they're coming on by the thousands.
It's wild. What's your wife's perspective of all of this? Because it's a partnership. You can't do this alone.
All right, I need a break. My wife is very proud. She likes it, but it's very, very difficult. If there's anybody that took a real hit from this year, it's my wife.
In what way?
Question.
In what way has her life changed? Because
in everything. We used to go on a lot of vacations. We used to go to a lot of restaurants. We used to hang out a lot more. And, there's a lot of sacrifice. So for me, it's easy because I don't have a choice. But for her, it's a lot more difficult.
It's like you're married to the daf also. In the most beautiful way.
I'm not married to the daf. I'm a slave to the
Oh,
daf.
yeah.
So I don't have a choice. Like I don't get to decide if I go to a wedding or I don't go. I can't go. It's not me making decisions.
It's a big geschmack thing in certain scenarios. It's a good escape card.
When I have to go, like when there's a family, so a lot of family weddings I don't even go to. But if it's like I haven't gone to the last two, and now it's just I have to go, so it becomes a whole ASIC. It's like days of preparation and extra preparing, less sleeping, figuring out the flights, when they're going to land, how it's going to happen, where am I going to be. My sister made a wedding in Lakewood. I had to step out right after the chuppah, and I had to make sure that the chuppah wasn't up to me, but just in case the chuppah is delayed, which it usually is, right after the chuppah, get in a car, run to this hall. There's 600 people waiting there. Give a quick share, and then turn around and people want to say hello, take a picture, but no, you can't do that because I got to run back to the wedding, dance for a few minutes. It becomes a hassle. Do
you feel more like a slave to the daf or more geschmack with the daf?
No, it's geschmack. It happens to be I'm a slave, but it's geschmack to be a slave. Ivdus Hashem b'simcha.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a slave because I don't get to say that much. I can't say that, today I don't feel like giving the daf. I'm not going to give the daf. I want to take 1 day break. It's impossible because if I do, I'm going to let down 45,000 people. So I can't do that. And I can't say, you know what? Let's go to a restaurant tonight. Usually I can't do that. So once in a blue moon, we go. Once in a blue moon, we go on a vacation. And during the vacation, my family knows, like, he's again. We were on a safari. We took the whole family on a safari, and we're sitting there looking at the lions, and I'm with the Gemara, because I got to prepare. And it's not because I'm a tzaddik and I'm a masamid. I got to prepare. There's a shir coming up, and usually I prepare 12 to 14 hours a day, and now these are going to be not that great quality, only 6-7 hours of preparation. So yeah, slave, but I love every minute, literally every minute.
Is there certain mesachtas that, I don't know, maybe you learned a little more or you just felt more connected to it, so when you're now preparing for it, it's easier because you have that knowledge, or not necessarily, it's kind of always the same prep that needs to go into it?
It's getting easier, but because in the last time you interviewed me, I said this thing and a lot of people connected to it. I said, I don't have a good memory. And people like that vulnerability for whatever reason. A lot of people wrote to me, I don't either have one. But it's true. Not everybody has great memory. Not everybody has, a great mind. So that's one of my many weaknesses. I don't have a great memory. So when I'm preparing, it's basically brand new for me. The Ar Mesechtas, even Avodah Zarah, which I chazred almost 40 times, a lot of stuff I don't remember. It's crazy. That's the gift I was given. So it might be a gift because every time I learn a daf, it's like, wow, this is great. This is brand new. Just learned it yesterday. Oh, it's brand new.
It's interesting with the daf cycle that we're at this point a lot closer, very close to the Siyum Hashas.
Right.
Your life has changed a lot since you started it. What's the next thing? Like, are you envisioning the Siyum Hashas? Are you envisioning what's going to happen after? Or is that too far away?
No, we started thinking about it. It's very much on, the discussion of what exactly we're going to do, because we have a lot of people that we have to take care of. We have to make some sort of siyum for ourselves, and then you have the big one at MetLife, and we got to do something. And I kept on, as a joke, I said in Shabbos, because it was during COVID, I said, whoever sticks it out with us, we're going to go on a cruise. It was like a joke, but then people took it serious, and then people were like, what, am I invited on the cruise? And like, so we might have to do some sort of cruise to get to the, just to be truthful.
So that's like a status, like to be in the chevra, that like you're in the cruise. Like it means like
if you started brachas, you could come on the cruise, but are we really doing it? I guess we're gonna have to do something. Maybe it'll be from Sheepshead Bay. What is it over here? From the bridge to the from Miami to New York. I don't know.
You get like a raft. I'm curious. Is there any? It's funny. You probably have people who are poor following the share, and you probably have. I don't know if it's great to say. You probably have a billionaire or two, or like. And everyone in between that. Right. It's pretty interesting that like such a motley crew of like different kinds of Yidden. And also like you have Hasidim, you have Sfar. Like could you give, and for the three people who don't know, like just the kinds of different worlds that are following along.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the really beautiful things of MDY, the Achtos. It's very hard to find in one room so many different types of Yidden sitting together, learning Torah, gathering to serve Hashem. So we have, on a typical day, especially in the Hebrew shir, we have every day the same Yerushalmi guy, actually two Yerushalmi guys. They come with their zebra, they call, their special jacket that they have, and white yarmulkes, sitting next to Chayalim. And then we have Litvish, Hasidish, Breslev, Lubavitch, Sfardim, Imanim, 8-year-olds, 90-year-olds. Koil guys that just finished taking a test on all of Shas, come every single day. Tamid Chachamim, Amaratzim, guys that are in the process of Geirus, and it's unbelievable. It's like literally, it's United Nations over there. It's crazy. Every single day, the same
United
story.
Nations. Good.
Yeah. We have the Kippas Rugas, and then some guy comes without a kippah. You know what I mean? But it's everybody. It's all, for all levels, all Yidden. It's the speech of Torah. It's for everybody.
Behind the scenes, is there like a WhatsApp chat with like the Daf Yomi Magid Shirim? Because no one really understands what you have to do other than them, right? They, again, maybe not the same scale because you're giving Hebrew and English, but still, like if there's anyone who could understand it, it's
I'm not aware of a WhatsApp group, but
oh shoot, so
I do like the shmooze.
You're too big for it. Okay.
You want to sneak onto that group and see what's going on? But I schmooze a lot with Reb Eli.
Sure.
I'm a big admirer of his. And
do you see, again, this is a very raw, like, do you see it as a competition in ways, honestly? Like,
no. We're both doing the same thing. We're both trying to bring people to Torah, and it would be competition if he did drawings and AI and jokes. Right. It's a very different shir, very different.
I would also say, I feel like your target demographic is also different, right?
Well,
I compare it like this, and you tell me if this makes sense. And I think you both have both of these in there. But to me, like my oldest brother is Avi Linger, Shar Torah guy. He's at this point giving the daf himself, but he's like a big Reb Eli guy, like big. And then you have my brother Eli Linger. He was a centers guy. He, to me, is like falls more into the Reb Eli Stefansky. Again, I'm sure there's crossovers, but like, does that make sense in terms of?
Here's the difference. I think Reb Eli has it's one demographic. Mine is 100. This is, more yeshivish, a guy that's very into raid, that sort of thing. It's people that like raid, like the Eon style.
Mm-hmm.
My shir is more for crystal clear pshat. You want good pshat and in a fun way. So there's a lot of people that can't sit through an hour shir. So that's why there's a lot of breaks. By the way, we have a new product now. I hope you don't mind if I push it.
Please.
We have a great product because there are people that complain. It's like, there's too many jokes. What's going on here? Torah has to be serious. So we have a product called Nothing But the Daf. And we take out all the sponsorships, all the jokes, all the stories, all the banter between guys in the share, Reb Nachman Seltzer, who, says his 2 cents in middle share, whatever it is. We take it all out and it's just the daf and the charts and the AI, that sort of thing. I read an email 2 days ago from a Hasidic lady. She says, I watch all the emails, but being that I'm Hasidic, I can't learn Gemara. Is there any way you could do nothing but the emails and jokes? So we're thinking about it.
We'll be right back with Reb Eli, but I want to tell you about a trip I am not running, but one I personally believe is the best Jewish trip on planet Earth. Legacy Kosher Tours is taking an extraordinary journey to amazing Argentina, and I have close friends go on legacy trips, and I have seen it firsthand. The level, the care, the depth, the experiences are simply unmatched. And this trip starts in the home of the largest Jewish community in Latin America, and you'll explore historic neighborhoods, visit iconic shuls, and stand in the AMIA Jewish Community Center, feeling the resilience and strength of Argentinian Jewry. From there, the journey moves on to Patagonia to witness the jaw-dropping Perito Moreno Glacier, and then to the most powerful waterfall system in the world. It honestly looks like AI, but I could promise you it is real. It is raw, overwhelming beauty that stays with you for your entire life. And there's also an exclusive kosher gancho ranch experience with a full Argentinian feel crafted just for legacy. Best part is the tour is led by Reb Mordechai Becher and Rabbi Yaakov Lerfield, who bring insight, warmth, and inspiration into every setting. Everything is 5-star, Mahadran kosher food, beautiful hotels, uplifting Shabbos, daily minyanim, and zero stress. But the trip is coming up, so make sure to book. Legacy does not plan trips, they create masterpieces. For more info, call or WhatsApp 224-735-0015 or email legacykosher@aol.com. They're good friends to the podcast, so go ahead and definitely check them out. Now, one of the most common questions that I get asked as a podcaster is, which podcast do I personally listen to? My answer is always the same, Rabbi Stark's podcast. We'll link it down below. But I'm not here to tell you about how powerful his Shmuzinar or his Parsha Insights or even his Shavim series, which is exceptional. I'm here to tell you about his Sefer Yesod HaBayis, Building Foundations for Life by Reb Chaim Dov Stark. And it's something different. This is not inspiration you hear and move on from. It's a framework for how to think, how to guard your inner world, and how to live with clarity and Kedusha in a generation that constantly pulls in the opposite direction. And no surprise, over 10,000 copies of this book has been sold. The Sefer speaks directly to the realities we are all dealing with: technology, fantasy, distraction, and the quiet confusion that comes with them. And what I love about it, it doesn't shame or overwhelm. It gives language, structure, and practical tools to actually last. And that is why the Sefer has already changed so many lives. And that is why I am personally recommending it. And if you're serious about growth in the modern world, this is a must read. You can get it at rabbistark.com. If you're watching this, I have the Hebrew version. There's an English version as well. And it's available on Amazon and bookstores as well. Go ahead and check it out. I kid you not, the Sefer can change your life. Now back to this week's episode. That's great. I do want to point out, my friend Binyamin Sorlik, Yoni Kleshik, they're big fans of yours, and they're in it.
Hey guys.
And they constantly show me they're so blown away. And when I see it, it's really crazy. Like the use of AI. And even if you look 3 months ago compared to today,
absolutely,
it's revolutionary of how you use it to really, I'm like upset a little that this didn't exist when I was like learning Gemara and like getting into it. Like it really visually describes, like I remember young, like when I was like trying to think of the base of Mikdash, you had the pictures. Okay, it was okay, but like you actually could walk into it and feel it.
It's unbelievable. I think that's why AI was created, for the Daf, for Torah, for Yiddishkeit. But yeah, every month it changes. Every month, and we're getting better and better at it. We have a whole crew. We have 4 guys that work on this full time.
How many full-time staff do you have?
I don't know. It's probably like 15 full-time, but there's more. There's almost 30.
Because you also have a lot of volunteers.
A lot of volunteers, and some of the volunteers are the hardest working guys. We have guys, our CEO is volunteer, Yossi Klein, Mark Ashkenazi. These are guys that work 8 hours a day. Benny Rudnick, 8 hours a day.
Yeah, tell me about Benny Rudnick, because I've interacted with him.
Okay. So Benny Rudnick, here's a great story. Nobody knows this yet. I'm gonna say this at the Shabbaton, but it's a great story. For me, it's unbelievable. Benny Rudnick is a guy that his father's super stark. and he's not as stark. You know, he went to one of these yeshivas and gets married, has a couple children. He's working. He has a famous meat shop in Bet Shemesh. He also delivers to Yerushalayim. He's very successful with his meat. It's called Benny's. You know, he caters to the American crowd, good cuts, the whole thing, clean. And we daven in the same shul back in the day for Shachris. Every single day for 2 years, I would bug this guy. No joke, you could ask him. Every day, Benny, when are you going to start the daf? Oh, I can't. I take my children to school. I don't have time. The usual excuse. And I wouldn't give up. Every day. One day, it was a Shabbos. I'm walking the street. I bump into him and his wife. Like, listen, wife, I've been bugging your husband for 2 years. This guy needs to do the daf. It will change his life. Back and forth. She looks at me. She says, we'll be there tonight, Matzah Shabbos. She said it with like, okay. Sure enough, he shows up Matzah Shabbos. That was 4 years ago to the day. How do I know that? For 4 years, he's not missed a single day since that Matzah Shabbos. Not only that, when this shir in Hebrew started, that's over 2 years ago, he hasn't missed a single Hebrew shir. He's built, amen.
I don't want to interrupt your flow, and it's like, need a drink.
Okay.
Okay, go for it.
We'll both drink. L'chaim. Living l'chaim.
L'chaim. No, I did your thing.
So, this guy has been one of the best finds ever. It was worth every time I bugged him because he became the biggest ambassador for the Hebrew shir. He brought himself thousands of people to the Hebrew shir himself. Now, here's the unbelievable part. Right before I left, which was yesterday, he came over to the front and he gave me a letter, which I read, and I cried when I read it. It was emotional just to read, you know, Rebbe, you changed my life. And this is a guy that every excuse in the book, no, I can't come. And he's sitting there, he says, for 4 years I haven't missed a day, and I thank you for changing my life. And he gave me a beautiful art scroll, leather-bound siddur, the same one that I use every day, but in leather, beautiful. And right afterwards, he comes in and tells me, and I knew this was in the works, but listen to this. Benny Rudnick sold his meat business so they could come work for MDY full-time. Nobody knows this yet, but you. You're the first person I'm telling this to.
Wow.
It's not 100% sold, but you know, he got the deposit and the whole thing, and he's in the process of giving up a successful business. He wants to work full-time for MDY. One of the stories.
And I know you have so many stories, and I want to hear more. Could you tell me about Jason Hacherman?
How do you know that name? Okay. Jason Hacherman, I was in Miami last week. It seems like forever, but it was a little over a week ago, like maybe 9 days ago. I knew about the story before, but I never met Jason. Basically, Jason was going through, he still has chronic pain, some nerve damage in his arm, and he's in a lot of physical pain. So he takes medication, the whole thing. One night, he decided, that's it. He gave up on life. He has 2 children, 2 young, beautiful children, married. He had enough. He's calling it quits. So he called up, I forgot his name. It's this individual that did the voiceovers for our 3D animation back in the day when we didn't have AI. We were doing 3D animation. This guy has a beard, the whole thing. He was also at this shir in North Miami Beach. They both came up to the front to tell me the story. He basically calls up this guy and says, goodbye, I'm leaving. I'm out. He's checking out of this world. And for whatever reason, this individual tells him, before you do that, you need to watch one shir from Eli Stefansky. The guy's like, well, hello, I'm calling you to tell you goodbye. Just try the shir. He tries the shir. He watches the whole thing, goes through it, and basically one shir to another. He came up there and he says, you literally saved my life. I was going to take my life, and this shir saved my life. He was with tears in his eyes. I owe you my life, blah, 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 blah. It's already like 2 years or something that he's been doing the daf every day, never missed a day. And that's Jason Hacherman. Got up there on stage, said his story. There's another story I got to tell you. There was a couple in, we'll call it a suburb of Tel Aviv. Very high-powered couple, very wealthy, very to the left, elitist of Israel. And they were both going to Erachim in Israel. Erachim is a program where they try to make Bali Tshuva. They give great speeches. There's a guy there, David Braverman. He's a big fan of the Hebrew shir. He wrote the story in the Yated. He told me the story. He was giving speeches over there, and the husband got into this whole Yiddishkeit thing. The wife was the opposite. She couldn't stand seeing her husband getting close to the Yiddishkeit. And she spoke to him and nothing was helping. So she filed for divorce, but literally went to the Rabbanut, filed for divorce. So they go to Rav Braverman to see if he has anything to say. And again, he comes up with this brilliant idea. He says, watch Eli Stefansky's Daf Yomi shir. Together. That's it. That's what you have to tell us. He says, I don't know. Try it. So they turn it on. They watch it together. As luck would have it, there's no such thing as luck, but Siyata D'Shmaya, I happened to be in the safari, giving a shir from the safari. Some animals in the background, whatever it was. And she looks at her husband, she says, that guy is from? He doesn't have a beard. He's from? And he's in a safari, he's having fun. He says, yeah. He says, oh, if you want to be from like that, that's fine. I thought you mean like, you're going to go to Hafganah and you're going to do it, a big long beard, the whole thing. That's okay. So they stayed married. And then because they watched the shir together, she became from. That's the end of the story. 9 months later, she became from.
Wow. I love that also, like in all these stories, it's like kind of the go-to. Like if my wife is upset at me, like, come on, I told you to take out the garbage. I'm like, please just watch MDY. Like I feel like
see that? It's the new shtick.
It's the key. It's somewhat like there's obviously a lot of great clips in the emails that you read. Something that really resonated with me, and I'm sure a bunch of people saw it, but I'd love to bring it up, is Ari Chaimowitz. Ari Chaimowitz. Could you share your conversation that you had with him?
Everybody saw it already, no?
There's always people that haven't.
Okay. Ari Chaimowitz, I think he's Belz, if I'm not mistaken. He lives in Borough Park, but he speaks Hebrew. He learned in Eretz Yisrael. And he interviewed me for his What a Day.
And we'll link it down below for people to see it.
Is that competition with you?
No.
No. Okay, great. It's like me and Srilly.
Yeah.
Reb Srilly.
We're all trying to bring people closer to Torah.
Oh, there you go. Same. So Ari Chaimowitz did a What a Day episode. Basically, he came to my house like 4:30 in the morning, 5, whatever it was, and he just followed me throughout the day. Behind the scenes, the whole thing, very successful. A lot of people started learning Torah because of it, the whole thing. And then he said, you know what? You're doing a Hebrew shir. Let me do the Hebrew. So he came to my house for the Hebrew. And there, basically, he breaks down. He's sitting on my porch. And he said that he hates Gemara. He hates Gemara. Because when he was in Cheder in Yerushalayim, the Rebbe brought donuts. And the Rebbe said something about whoever knows the Gemara. I forgot exactly the whole thing. And basically, 2 kids in the class didn't get donuts. And they weren't just donuts. These were American donuts from Brooklyn Bake Shop. And him and this other kid couldn't get donuts. And not only that, the other kids rubbed it in. They started, singing this nasty tune of this loser, he can't get a donut. And that gave him this hatred towards Gemara. And he says, oh, and I forgot to mention that when he interviewed me the first time, I kept on bugging him like I do to everybody. I did to you once.
Yeah.
If you're going to come in my Dalet Amas, I'm going to ask you about the daf,
Sure, yeah.
So I said, hey, you got to start the daf. No, I don't like Gemara. I said, try it. So he gave himself a 30-day challenge, and he's never missed a day. Actually, his kid was in the hospital for like 20 days in the ICU, so he missed, but he's back. So he claims that the daf has changed his life, and he's doing the daf. But he says, even though I do the daf, I can't look inside. I still hate it. I just listened to the whole shir, which was amazing. I was crying. He was crying. It was a great scene.
It was very touching.
Are you going to show that? Maybe you should show that that little clip.
Yeah. I'll get his permission to share it. But yeah,
of course I'll give you permission.
Yeah, I know. He's a nice guy. That's really incredible. You're one of the things. I love how you're always innovating, and it's not really just about the daf. It's really how can we get people to learn more and understand more.
Right.
I don't think it's a secret. The Gemara you're working on.
Right. So we did 2 Masechtas already. We just finished Menachas. We're doing our own MDY style Gemara. It's a little bit more, I don't know if you could call it Gemara fun, but we have charts in the back. We have QR codes.
I transparently, you didn't get me yet. I don't do the daf. I did a whole video of trying out all the Daf Yomi share.
That's right. Thank you. And I was like number one.
Yeah,
great.
It was great.
I never thanked you for that. Thank you.
But when I heard this idea, and I want you to explain it more, I'm like, I'm gonna purchase the Gemara. Like when I'm doing Kinyan Masechta, but when I'm in that Masechta, like I want to get this Gemara. And again, I have nothing to do with the daf, but like it's such a needed thing for Gemara in today's day and age.
Why?
I don't want to explain the product, but like tell me if I'm butchering it, but it's giving you pashut pshat. It's not complicated. It's not throwing in tons of mafarshim. It's giving you the Gemara and then the explanation to it.
Exactly.
You're not going to become Talmud Chacham over here and be able to write shirim on, but you're going to be able to understand the Gemara.
Well, that's MDY. A crystal clear pshat in Gemara. No, not achrayim, the Rishayim. Just understand, because a lot of times when we were in yeshiva learning and we got lost in all the raid and all the Rishayim and achrayim, we forgot that there's a Gemara.
And there's a time and place for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't have any notes in our Gemara. It's all, the pshat is all on top. It's all within the translation. Very simple English, very clear, and just good pshat. Every daf has a QR code where you scan, you go directly to the charts, directly to the shir. There's a bunch of charts in the back of the Gemara. There's calendars, maps. There's something else that we have. A lot has changed over the year. In the last year, a lot with the AI, but also one of the big things is that we have, just in Eretz Yisrael alone, we have close to 30 satellite locations that watch the shir live at the same time. Some of the locations have 20 people, 15 people, and we put them on the screen during shir. We patch them in. America also, we started now big. We don't have 20. We actually do have 28 locations in America, but not live. In Phoenix and Los Angeles, when the clock is right, right now it's not the time, but when 7:10 is at a decent time in Los Angeles and Phoenix, so we have it live over there. We have a guy Nacho that does it in Los Angeles, in Phoenix. And we have a lot of places. We have Ari Chaimowitz, you mentioned, he has a place every single morning in his shul in Borough Park. They watch the shir, like 10 guys together watch the shir. We have Rabbi Kaf in Borough Park, a whole yeshiva full of Hasidic guys watch the shir every day. So that's up and coming. And what's interesting is that some yeshivas, and we have already like 5 yeshivas, they have a screen, they'll show the shir at night seder. Because a lot of yeshivas, night seder is like weak. And here you have a way to have geschmack, fun, entertaining shir for free. You don't have to hire Maggid Shir. So it's going to be the future. Camps have it.
For someone who's not sure if they should do the daf, or they look at it, let's be realistic. They're almost making Sima Shas. They'll join in 2 years. Or they tried it, it didn't work for them. Or they're, I don't know, doing Kinyan or Dirshu. Why should they really do the daf?
Okay. So there are a lot of programs and they're all very good. I love Kinyan Masechta. I love the Dirshu test. I took them myself. They're great. I push the daf, and the main reason is because of the consistency that I feel that the daf gives. The fact that there's no chazara. In other words, chazara is unbelievable, and I am very into chazara, but the fact that it's every single day the same exact thing keeps you going, keeps you motivated. That's what gets you to learn on a plane. That's what gets you to learn while you're sick. This idea of learning every day is super important. It's just as important as wearing tefillin every day, if not more important. And unfortunately, so many guys that went to yeshiva, especially these guys, they know better and they don't learn. They're so busy making money, another buck. And if they tried it, they had a boring Maggid Shir, whatever. Give this a try for 2 days, you'll see. And here's the other thing. Now that with all these emails I get every day and all these stories that I heard, it's not even about the Torah anymore. It's about literally enhancing your life. Here's an opportunity to change your life for the better through the daf. How does it work? Well, if you learn the daf for 60, 90 days, whatever is straight, and you don't give up, then you realize that so many other areas of your life, you could do better. You could be consistent. Even in exercise. How many times have you bought a piece of equipment or got a membership in a gym, you used it for a week, 2 weeks, but when you do the daf and you become consistent in that area, so you tell yourself, hey, I was successful over there. Maybe I could be successful in another area. So it just Shnai Mikra Vecher Targum becomes like second nature. All these other things, from the daf, it enhances your marriage, your chinuch with your kids. You pick up so many different ideas and so many different things that I throw in during the shir. Different ideas in psychology and in just all these different things that it enhances people's lives. And they tell me that, so that's why I have the right to say to other people, hey, will change your life also.
But let me push back. But in terms of, okay, so I'll start it in 2 years when the cycle starts. I already missed that. Should I jump on now? I think when this comes out, you're actually starting a new Masechta.
We're starting Menachas. It's always great to start by a new Masechta, but it's a mistake. Just like it's a mistake to start your diet after Yontif and next month and New Year's or whatever you want to start, it's a mistake. It's the way...
I would think you start fresh. You start from the beginning.
That's the Yetzer Hara. Every single time, that's his biggest trick. Don't start today. Let's push it off tomorrow. And that's how he gets you. By tomorrow, you already forgot about it. So MDY, we started in the middle of a Masechta, and I think that was one of our key rules, is that you start whenever you have inspiration. That's number one. Number two, there is no such thing as the beginning of the cycle. Yes, brachas is the beginning, and that's when everybody goes to MetLife Stadium. But if you think about it, every daf is the beginning of Shas for you. So if you start today, your Siyum Shas is going to be in 7.5 years, in 2,711 days from now, is going to be your Siyum Shas. Some people make a Siyum Shas when they finish Zvachim. Some people finish when they finish Menachas. Some people finish when they finish Avodah Zarah. We made a Siyum Shas for the 10 first guys of MDY. We went to the Waldorf and we made our Siyum Shas there when we finished Avodah Zarah. Even Rebbe, when he wrote the Mishnah, it wasn't like brachas was first. That's how it is now. In Vilna, that's how first Masechta is here. It's a question, what came first, what came second? So I view it as a, what is it called in the amusement park? A Ferris wheel. When you get on, that's where you get off. You can't say seat number one is the first seat. Any seat you get on, that's when you get off. So it's a great time to start right now, today, whatever day it is. And if you want to start Menachas, okay, great. In the beginning of Menachas. If it's Menachas Daf Vav, it's also great. Every day we learn new stuff. It's a shame to miss a single day. There's not a day that goes by we don't learn a new Chiddush. Something beautiful that you didn't know about Yiddishkeit in the Torah.
My favorite part of this week's episode with Rav Eli is coming up. But first, this month we are spotlighting 3 essential titles from Feldheim Publishers, and we're giving all 3 to one winner, and I'll explain. First is Looking into the Sun. This sefer is a rear window into the true Torah greatness, Rav Moshe Shapiro Zatzal. This is not light reading. It stays with you and recalibrates how you think. This is written by Rav Menachem Nessel, a good friend to the show, and Rav Moshe is someone, the more I learn about his teachings and his Torah, the more I want to get to know about him, and I highly recommend this book. Second is Strive for Truth, the compact edition. Rav Dasler's teachings on Emunah, free will, and growth. They change how you understand life itself, and this edition makes it accessible anywhere, easy peasy. Third book is Escape, Volume 6, an action-packed story filled with suspense, history, awe-inspiring Emunah, and great for your kids, but to be honest, let's all be real over here. It's great for adults too. Now, to enter this giveaway, all you got to do is comment your favorite Feldheim book. Yes, that could be The Bamboo Cradle. It could be Looking into the Sun. It could be, their Chumash, whatever it is. Write in the comments, whether on YouTube or Spotify. We'll choose one winner. You'll get all of these 3 books. So this week we have 3 titles, 1 winner. Do not miss this. Of course, you can purchase these in your local farm store or on feldheim.com. You could scan it with the QR code. But before we jump right back into this episode, I need to tell you, when my brother Eli first heard about United Refua Healthshare, the claim was that it already saved Klal Yisrael tens of millions of dollars in healthcare costs. That's a big statement. So instead of taking it at face value, my brother went straight to the source and did the homework. The conclusion after real research was simple. It is real. United Refua is a health share, which for many families can be far more cost-effective alternative to traditional healthcare options. People are saving thousands, and in many cases, tens of thousands of dollars a year. That is money staying in your pocket for simplest tuition, family priorities. And this is not hype. The response from our audience was overwhelming when my brother Eli interviewed the founder of United Refua Healthshare, people calling us, emailing, and seriously exploring whether this makes sense for them. Healthcare is one of the biggest expenses family carry. And if this is a responsible way to reduce the burden, it's worth understanding. I'm not telling you what to choose. I'm telling you this is something you should look into. The link to United Refua is in the show notes. Of course, you can go to unitedrefuahs.org. And of course, you can check out the episode my brother did on kosher money with the founder. Now, back to this week's episode. Is there a story or piece of Gemara that to you gives you more chizuk? I know you've learned so much, and it's hard to ask this on the spot. I probably should have asked you before, but is there something that sticks out to you that you're like, this gives me chizuk?
Wow. Yeah, you should have asked me before, but it wouldn't have helped because my memory is, I think I said this last time, so I'm not going to say it again. That's okay. Chizuk. I don't know. Let's see. What did we learn today? Let me think if something pops out from today's daf. There's a good vart there. Oh, today's daf. Rachav. This is just today. It's a perfect example. Today is Zvachem Daf Kuf Tezayin. Just preparing the daf. It talks about Rachav. She had illicit relationships with so many people for 40 years, and she ended up doing tshuva. And a Gemara like this, I pause and I emphasize it and I talk about it to give people chizuk. She did a lot of averos in her life, but guess what? She did tshuva. And the Gemara says, she told Hashem, with the same sin that I sinned, the same things, she sinned with a window, with a string, and with flax. Basically, she had these men climb up through the window, and then she would hide them. If they got into trouble, she would hide them in the flax. That's how she saved the Yidden that came. They came through a window.
The Navi Meraglim.
Yeah. Right, those. And she, Yeshua, she saved them by hiding them in the cops came and said, where are your people? Where are your guests? Oh, they left already. And she hid them in the flax. So she tells Hashem, with the same things that I sinned with, I did a mitzvah with. Forgive me. So what's the idea? Well, what does that mean with the same thing? So I don't know if it's an original or not, but I wanted to say pshat that Hashem gave us certain strengths. We all have certain things. We're good at this, we're good at that. But what a shame if you take your strengths and you rip people off. You use your brain to steal in business and do bad things. You tell Hashem, you know what? I'm doing tshuva. That beautiful thing, that gift that you gave me, instead of doing terrible things with it, I'm doing great things with it. And guess what happened? She ended up marrying, do you know what she married? Yeshua. Hey, you don't know because you don't do Daf Yomi.
This is what hits. You're going to get me back into it. No, it's past year. I'm actually in the summer. I get very into Navi. So I knew it was a Meraglim. I knew it was that. But I had to remember, yeah.
But Rachav, after all,
if I did Navi, I'd also know the answer to that question.
No, it doesn't say over there. I don't think it says it.
Oh, it's like a Mefarsh?
Yeah.
Got it.
I think so. She ended up marrying Yeshua, the Gadol Adar. So you could come from doing all these averos to marrying the top person in Klal Yisrael.
I'm curious. I mean, as you're getting older and you're learning more and wiser, is there an itch for like a different part of the Torah that you're like, maybe you don't have the time for it, maybe you do, like you started doing or getting more into?
I don't have the time.
You don't have the time?
No.
Is that?
I mean, I do Shnai Mikra. I want to do Mishnayos just to finish Shas Mishnayos because Shas doesn't include a lot of Mesechtas, other, Kalim and all these other Mesechtas. I want to do that. But to find the time and people come to me all the time, could you do the sharing Yerushalmi? Could you do sharing Yiddish? Could you do the sharing Mishnah Berurah? A guy flew from America to ask me to do a shir in Mishnah Berurah and took a flight right back. He said, I'm here for 3 hours. I just came for one thing. I want to show you how serious I am. I used to give a shir in Mishnah Berurah, but I don't have a second to breathe. So, yeah, there are other parts of Torah. I'm not into Nister yet, into Kabbalah. I need to get through Nigla, do it well.
Is that, I'm curious, is that the Yetzer Hara, all the other stuff? Because then it's like, it's going to take you out of what you're doing now? Or
it's the Yetzer Hara to learn that stuff?
When I say the stuff, I mean the other stuff, because then it will take you away from your focus right now. In this sense, I don't know if that's a controversial question.
It's all important. Halacha is important.
No, for you personally, is it, if I tell you, you should start a seder in halacha, is that the Yetzer Hara? Because then
I think so. For me it is.
Right.
Because
I'm asking for you, not for, don't try to
I'm a perfectionist. I need to get the shir as good as it could be, and sometimes it takes 14 hours. There was 3 shiurim, I don't remember which ones, that I had to stay up the entire night. I didn't even go to sleep. So it's all about the shir. I told you I'm a slave. I got to get it in. If I do other stuff, then it's like, It's not going to work.
I don't know if you had a conversation with him, but what does your father say about everything you're doing now?
He tells me that he loves it. He gets a lot of nachas. A lot of people tell him, are you Eli's father? You know, that sort of thing. But that's what he tells me. He's a nice guy. So I never know. You can never know with him.
I heard he went recently-ish to his first share of yours live, right?
Yes.
What was that like for you?
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, he doesn't have the time. He's all learning, just 24/7. When we were kids, he never took us to the zoo, never took us on Chalamite trips. You know,
that's why you go to Safari as much as you can.
Yeah. It's probably the trauma. Yeah, gotta take out that trauma. I only went to 5 safaris. Is that a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I overdid it with the safari. By the way, I have a great story on the safari. You got to hear the story.
Yeah, please. We love stories.
So when you go on a safari, the number one thing to see in a safari is a kill.
I was about to say a lion, but clearly I haven't.
A kill.
A kill?
We don't call it a kill.
A kill, not an animal, like an animal killing an animal.
Animal killing another animal. What do we call it? We have a nice way to say it. Kill is not nice. A chase.
Chase.
A chase. We'll call it a chase.
Right.
You could edit it out. So to see a chase. Even the chase, by the way, without the actual kill is what you see on National Geographic. It takes them years and days and it doesn't happen. You don't really see it. It usually happens at night. And then there are different types of animals that are rare. So to see a lion is very nice, but it's not rare. To see a leopard, for instance, is very rare. It's wow. To see cheetah also very rare. To see a lion chasing another animal, super, super rare. So our driver told us that he's been there for 60 days, I think, straight, or 160. I don't remember anymore. Like something 60. He hasn't seen a single chase. Don't worry about it. You're not going to see one. Good friend of mine, MDY Daf Yomi, lived in South Africa, went on dozens, maybe hundreds of safaris. He's never seen a chase, a kill. So we get there, the MDY, we're doing an MDY trip for the donors, top donors of MDY. We go 30 people, we go to the safari, Serengeti, top safari in the world. And I let everybody know we're not going to see a chase. Don't worry about it, but let's try to see a lion, a leopard. So Baruch Hashem, we saw the lion, we saw the leopard, we saw a cheetah from very, very far. We saw like, with the binoculars, we saw like the ear, whatever. So, and the way it works is since we're like 7 Jeeps, we're a bunch of people, so we don't go together. So we go 2 Jeeps here, 2 on the way back to the airport. We're done with the trip. Driving back to the airport, it's 2 hours through the jungle. We haven't seen even an elephant, nothing, not a giraffe, nothing. So one of the guys, Molandi, says to somebody in the Jeep, says, if I see a chase, I'm going to donate $5,000 to MDY. So the guy says, okay, I'll give 10,000. The guy says, I'll give 5. Kids are a bunch of money. 5 minutes later,
oh gosh,
there's a call on the radio that they spotted a cheetah. So, okay, let's go see a cheetah. We haven't seen really. So we pull up there, all 7 Jeeps, all of us, and we're now a half hour away from the airport. We're going to leave. And we're watching the cheetah, and it's a mother and a baby. All of a sudden, the mother gets up in front of everybody, looks around, and starts running. Now, these things run 70 miles an hour. It's just running right through our Jeep, my Jeep and this Jeep in front, right through it. And it's chasing an Impala. And the Impala runs away, but comes right back to our Jeep. So this thing is circling in front of us, and it's picking up speed. It's getting closer and closer to the Impala. And we're all 7 Jeeps like, what in the world? And right in front of everybody, boop, it caught it. And it was like we saw Yad Hashem, seriously. It's like the kayach of the Torah. And we learned the entire trip. We had shiurim, 2 shiurim a day. It was all about ruchnias, a lot of gashmias, that mix. And because these people, I believe they made a pledge to tzedakah right there, where the driver said he's never, a cheetah, not a lion, a cheetah and an Impala, and it didn't run away, it ran right in front of us. The whole thing was just a nace nigla. All 7 Jeeps saw it. It wasn't the 2. They took off, we went right to the airport. And had that been on the first day, everything would have been like, we already saw the is the last thing that we saw. So, shkocha pratis.
I think you need to go on more safaris. You'll raise a lot more money from MDY then.
Yeah. No.
Wow.
I'm all safaried out now.
What's the most, and we're winding down, but like, what's the most common question, the most common thing people want to know about you when they finally meet you? Because they see you through the screen and then they see you and What do they say? What do they ask?
A lot of people ask me, "B'mezachisa."
What does that mean?
Why were you Zaycha? Like, you must have done like a special mitzvah to, like, what's the pshat? That sort of thing. Because I am just a balabas. So I thought about it a lot. And one of the things I tell people is, I have no clue. I don't know that I did anything more than anybody else. And my father is a big Talmud Chacham, daven a lot for me. At the end of the day, I put in a tremendous amount of work, a lot of sacrifice, giving up the business, moving to Eretz Yisrael, and just spending crazy amount of hours learning and preparing for the daf. And I think if somebody else put in those kind of hours, I think they would be successful as well.
Really incredible. And it is so much more than just the daf and just like this whole Shabbos that I know is coming out after the Shabbos, but it's so special. It's your third year doing it.
Right.
When you're on that Shabbos and you're seeing the chevra and unbelievable speakers and all that are there, what are you feeling when you're like seeing it? Because when you're speaking, I know the feeling of like speaking, like, even if you have a live audience there, but like you don't see the 45,000. But then when you actually do a shir in the white shul and you have to sit on the floor because there's no seats, like, or in the Shabbaton, like, what does that feel like for you?
So, Baruch Hashem, every single day we have guests, like literally every day. Sometimes we have 5, sometimes 10. We have a special guest table, guest section. And so I get to hear from people all over the world. But yeah, the Shabbaton is 900 people. And I don't get to speak to everybody because it's 900 people, but you feel it, you sense it. You see the simcha people have, and it's just everybody coming together for one purpose, to celebrate Torah. It's unbelievable. It's literally unbelievable. And people come over to you, like I'm sitting and trying to, and then, you have some of the chassidim that don't let people come close. People that come over, and tears in their eyes, telling you these crazy stories. I had a chassid come over with his wife. The guy had a beard, literally his, long beard pace. He says he hasn't been in shul in 5 years. On Yom Kippur, he didn't go to shul. And since he's started the shir, he hasn't missed a minyan in over a year. Any minyan, mincha, ma'ariv, the whole thing. And he's crying. He's literally crying. His wife is crying. So you hear this story, story after story after story. People just want to share their crazy stories. And it's unbelievable. That's why I tell you, get another person to learn Torah, because it will change your life, guaranteed.
You mentioned davening before. Do you have any special davening stories?
Yeah, I got a great one. I don't think I said this very often, but I'll tell you this story because nobody's going to be watching this. I can tell you this. It's a good one. When I first got married, we lived in Eretz Yisrael. We lived in Arzei Abira. And I heard then that if you go to the kotel for 40 days straight and daven for the same thing, you stand in the same place, a few different rules, Hashem will answer your tefillah. Like, cool, let's try it out. Test Hashem on davening. So I went there every single day, and Friday, took a cab to the kotel, davened, let's say it was 7:30 at night every day from the same spot, try to get my spot, and then walked back to Arzei. Once it's Shabbos, had to walk on Shabbos, daven. Once it's Shabbos, you take the free number 1 bus home. Okay. 40 days, didn't miss a day. Boom. And my wife asked me, what do you daven for? I'm like, can't tell you. It's one of these things. It's one of the rules. Can't say. And the thing was to daven in the same spot, same tefillah, same time. And years later, probably, I want to say maybe 18 years later, something like that, I got up to speak at my Siyum Shas. And I told everybody what it was. I davened that I should be a Magid Shir for Daf Yomi. That was my tefillah. And at the time, I thought, wow, Hashem listened. But I didn't realize how much he really listened. That was just, preparation. And look at it today.
The seeds were being planted.
Yeah, it was amazing. So I guess it works in a way.
Is it more, do you find it more it's because you davened, or is it because the work that you put in to make it actually happen, or both?
Right. So I spoke about it in Shir. I don't think it's the kotel as much as the intense tefillah. I think going to the kotel and believing that this is going to work and this whole, it has to be the same day, the same time, the same this, the same that. It's a focused tefillah. It's short, but focused and powerful. So my belief, I don't know, I never tried it, is if you did the same thing in your bedroom, it would probably have the same effect. That's just my, obviously the kotel there's nothing like it, but how does it work? Like, why did this work? And again, I tell people all the time, sometimes you daven and Hashem says no. Sometimes you daven and he doesn't answer you right away. Sometimes it takes 10 years, 20 years, or sometimes he'll take your tefillah and put it in a different, instead of it being for Magid Shir, he says, you don't need to be Magid Shir. You need a child. You need a this. I don't know. Like, he'll take your tefillah, put it somewhere else. So don't be discouraged. Hashem is always listening and Hashem always answers.
Beautiful. It's really nice. I know there's obviously a lot of share, but there's also a lot of geschmack. What's the favorite or maybe recent joke that you've said in share?
Oh, recent joke. I'll tell you some jokes I said today in share. That's all I can remember. One of them was, there was a Spanish guy who stole a lot of money and hid it under the tree. So the sheriff catches him and says, where'd you put the money? So he says, no habla español, no habla inglés. I don't speak English. So they bring in an interpreter. So the sheriff tells him, ask him where he put the money. He says, no, I'm not going to tell him where I put the money. The sheriff says, you tell him that if he doesn't tell you where you put the money, I'm going to shoot him right now. So he tells him in Spanish. The sheriff said that he's going to shoot you if you don't tell him where the money is. So the guy says, okay, I put it by the bridge. There's a tree by the bridge. I buried it right there. The sheriff asked the guy, so what did he say? He said, I dare you to shoot me. That's one. What else? Oh, today, just in a typical shear. Today, I'm jet lagged, right? So my humor is like
And for people realizing you're it's pretty late at night for you.
It's not just that. I didn't get over my trip from last week.
You're still jet lagged.
I don't know where. I don't know. I don't know if one jet with one jet lag cancels the other one. I don't know how that works, but I don't think. Apparently not. It's a very similar joke actually. This they're very similar. This guy had a terrible disease and he goes to the doctor with his wife, and the doctor tells the wife, I need to speak to you. So they go into a room and the doctor says, listen, your husband is dying here, but there's one way you could save him. If you really treat him really well, hopefully, you could get over this. Okay. You come out of the room and the husband tells the wife, no, what did the doctor say? What did the doctor said? The doctor said, your chances are slim, very slim. Yeah, anyways. But we have a lot of women that watch. You saw the Hasidic lady watches.
So you know what? Let's finish off on that. For a wife, for a mother who wants to encourage their spouse or child to watch.
Yeah.
Or to get them to get, like, to inspire them to get them. Like,
it's interesting. A lot of women tell me, I don't want to mix into my husband's business. That the college teacher told them back in the day, don't. I think it's a mistake. I think there's a difference between forcing and lightly encouraging, because if there's a product that will change your husband, 100 guaranteed, your money back guaranteed. If it doesn't, come back to me, because I'm telling you, it will change him to the point that you'll feel it in your marriage, the way he treats you, the way he treats your children, everything about him will change, and everybody could improve. So your husband will improve. So it's worth encouraging him. Nudging a little bit, not crazy, but giving that push, because the husband needs sometimes that little encouragement from his wife. So we'll call it encouragement. It'll help you and help your whole family, guaranteed.
Really beautiful. And lastly, I want to finish off. Okay, someone feels inspired. They're down. They're in it. They want to join MDY. Where's the best place to go?
Online somewhere. I don't know.
You don't know your website? Plug your website.
MDYDaf.com. That's our website. But the shir is on it's 20 different platforms. It's on All Daf. It's on Torah Anytime. It's on YouTube if you don't have that stuff. It's on Spotify. We're one of the biggest Spotify. I don't remember, for some reason, a lot of people that it just comes on their Spotify feed because we're huge on Spotify. WhatsApp. You can get on WhatsApp. 20,000 people are getting it on WhatsApp.
Crazy.
What else? All these Bat Torah, Kolel. It's just so many. So it's out there. Just plug it in MDY or Eli Stefansky or whatever it is, you'll find it.
Rav Eli Stefansky, thank you so much
for having me.
If you made it to the deep end of this episode, please use the word geschmack. And if you're a big fan of Reb Eli, I know there's a few of you who are watching this, go ahead and share this with the people on your WhatsApp or wherever it is, because I think so many of us outsiders who are not watching this share daily, like we don't really get to know like how geschmacky is. This is it. You've sent the share in before, continue doing that, but this gives a behind the scenes insight. So definitely go ahead and share. Before I get to my favorite moments with Reb Eli, thanks again to our friends at Feldheim. By the way, click down below, say your favorite Feldheim book, and you might be the winner. We're going to choose one winner for this week. And you'll win 3 of the latest titles. Go ahead and check out my Mashkiach's Sefer Yesod Habayis. If United Refua Healthshare makes sense for you and your family, definitely go ahead and check that out. And if you are looking to get away in the best way possible, check out Miriam's Legacy Tours. Now, of course, if you want to join Reb Eli Share, you can click on the link down below to join it. And you might be thinking, is today the right day? Yes. No matter what day you're watching this, today is the right day to increase your Torah learning and join the share. Now, for a cool behind-the-scenes look at Reb Eli's day, we linked Rav Ari Chaimowitz's What a Day, phenomenal job. Now, what I love about Reb Eli is he's a businessman who openly said he doesn't even have a great memory, yet he's changing lives in a very real way, whether it's getting people to learn every single day or quite literally saving lives. His impact is undeniable. I recorded this episode, Erev Shabbos. Reb Eli actually just flew in, so you could tell he's literally jet-lagged and bombed. He's coming off the flu, and he's planning this whole Shabbos. So if he's a little of low energy, we're talking about serious stuff, give him a pass on that. He really pushes and pushes, but he was so excited for the Shabbos. My favorite clip that happened Motzei Shabbos is Rav Eli talking about his favorite moment from the entire Shabbos, and this is him talking about what his son had to say about him.
Made me cry is when my son Akiva came over to me and he said, "I'm so proud to be your son. I'm so proud to be your son." And he started crying. That killed me.
Here are a few really, really powerful moments with Rav Eli and the people he's had an impact on.
On a Friday night at 1 a.m. in 2008, a young man called his friend who happens to be an Atzula paramedic. He told him, "Please come over right away. Soon, you won't be able to see me. I overdosed on painkillers, and I regret it now." What do all of these calls have in common? And why am I sharing it with you? You see, in all the above cases, the patients were taken into the hospital with seizure or early signs of a stroke. In all the cases that I mentioned above, the patient was dismissed from the hospital within hours after going through extensive testing, CAT scans, MRIs, sometimes EKG, with a clean bill of health. On all the above cases, here's the kicker. On all of the above cases that I mentioned was a patient who was severely abused as a child and suffered for years with suicidal thoughts, severe PTSD, depression, and anxiety. And no one, not the medical professionals and not the patient, no one put one and one together to put an end to the suffering. Now, the last case that I mentioned with the young man who overdosed, it was a suicide attempt after years of suffering from sexual abuse with suicidal thoughts, because he was invisible and suffered in silence. What else do all these cases have in common? All of the above cases that I mentioned happened to one person. The person who is sitting over here talking to you right now. Truth be told, I still get triggered from time to time, and that's okay. Sometimes it lasts a few days, sometimes it lasts a few hours, but I learned how to get over it. A little over a year ago, you may remember, there was a story that broke of a very popular, one of the most popular authors and therapist in Bnei Brak who abused many, many victims. After that story broke, I crashed. I was very strong at that time. But I literally crashed. I fell into a very, very, very deep depression. that lasted very, very long. Lasted for weeks on end. I couldn't get out of it. All the methods I learned and everything I tried, I could not get out of it. I feel I owe a curse at top. That's why I'm mentioning it publicly. By pure hashgacha prutis, I came across a promo video of a very dear friend of Kesher Nafshi, Reb Eli Stefansky's Daf Yomi shir. I can't explain why, because I haven't learned 30 years or more, didn't attend the shir, but for some reason I gave it a try. And one shir after another, after a couple of shirim, after a couple of days, I just turned back to myself. And it literally saved me. And not only me, my family. I'm looking into the camera. Reb Eli, I hope this is going to go to you. But I have to show my Akursa Toif publicly, and I need to thank you. Thank you for changing my life and saving my family.
What's your name? How old are you?
I'm now 17.
Say over the story. What did you just tell me?
When I was 15 and a half years old, I left my Asidishi yeshiva, and I fell into depression for about a half year. I was in bed, not doing anything. I didn't get out of bed, not to daven, not to put on film. I was in a very deep depression. Once my father introduced me to the daf with Reb Eli, I came out of the depression, started putting on film because I couldn't do the daf without putting on film. And then I started learning. I got a job. I do every day the daf, and even though I start getting, right now I'm starting to catch up to where I am after I do the daf every single day. Right now I finished I think it's about now 10 Masechtas with Reb Eli. It really changed my life and saved me.
Unbelievable. Wow. Wait a minute, you didn't say the second part. Now during construction,
when I work, I catch up to where I am after I've did the first daf.
so you start from brachas.
I did brachas, I did Eidavim. I did brachas, Shabbos, Eidavim, and I'm mid-Pesachim right now.
Unbelievable. 17 years old. Wow. Unbelievable. So proud of you. We're going to finish Shabbos together. What's your name again? Unbelievable.
Can I get a selfie?
Yossi, we have a tzaddik over here that we wanted to invite. Remember, we were on the bus with Rabbi Shapiro. Rabbi Shapiro got the phone. This tzaddik over here says, here, you tell him.
MDY, Reb Eli Stefansky, Mamish saved my life with his marshir. I was ready to take my own life by Baba Basra on Daf 24 from my injury, from not being able to be the father I wanted to be. And between medications and different things that I was on for the nerve pain, I was Mamish ready to take my life that night. I made a phone call from somebody who's already in the shir, and he told me to start listening to the shir, that maybe between either A, I would be entertained and I'd be engaged, or I'd finally fall asleep and be distracted and be out of pain for that hour of time. I just looked up Daf Yomi Basra, YouTube, Daf Days, made it through the whole shir, was totally into it, realized we were already on Daf 24. I'm like, there's no possible chance I'm starting this. They're already 24 Daf ahead. But it's not about the Daf, it's about the Yomi. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll sign up, I'll get the free Gemara. A week later, I was hooked. I reached out to my brother, who was already in the middle of doing Shas. He just finished this past Erev Pesach. And he's like, great, fantastic. But now, what are you waiting for? What are you sitting around doing? It's 24 Daf. It's all Agadata anyway. Go on YouTube, 2 times speed. By Hanukkah, you make your first siyum. That's exactly what happened. I made my first siyum. I've been doing Daf Yomi with Reb Eli Stefansky since Bavasra. I haven't missed a Daf. And I'm here to say I'm standing here. I'm alive today. We just had our second son about 7 weeks ago. It's because of the shir. Thank you.
Wow. Unbelievable. Wow.
The whole journey that when I started the daf, I wasn't so religious. I wasn't just using my phone. I was driving my car on Shabbos, but I was still connected to the daf. And as crazy as it sounds, I would drive my car to places or to Asida or whatever, but if I didn't finish the daf that day, as crazy as it sounds, I would finish the daf in the car on Shabbos. Now, it sounds crazy, but at the end of the day, the daf kept me connected And even though I've been through different challenges, very big challenges in my life, the daf literally like brought me back to life.
Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. Remember, inspiration's everywhere. L'chaim.
Living L'chaim.